Happy pre-4th of July, or 4th of July when you listen to this tomorrow.
Yeah. Happy 4th of July Eve as we air. What's up, everybody? Welcome to Blank as a Fart. It's me. It's Ian.
Yeah.
We're rolling right along through season 2 of Twin Peaks. Tonight we are on episode 8, Drive with a Dead Girl. Kind of a literal title there.
Living Dead Girl.
How you feeling this week, Ian?
I'm pretty good. I've been on vacation. Came back from a trip at Reno, last weekend, and, just really been doing a lot of nothing.
Recovering from vacation.
My life. Right now, I work for the school district, a school district. I won't tell you which one, but I get off, from June to like early August. So I get like a month and a week or two off. A month and a half off.
Bad.
And so like I do nothing, Gabe. I play video games. I drink beer. Watch movies. Twin Peaks.
Sounds a little like heaven.
Twin Peaks, obviously. I'm watching Twin Peaks. I mean, that's the most work I'm doing right now. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I do get the 4-day weekend, so.
How are you, buddy?
Oh, all right. I'm, funny to see you wearing that shirt. That's actually the game I'm in the middle of right now.
Oh, such a good game.
It is, yeah. I'm on the director's cut right now. I hadn't gone through that one yet, so.
Cool. Awesome.
My first time on the Fiverr.
Nice.
So that's how I'm doing. Yeah, I'm digging that. And yeah, I mean, we had fun this week, didn't we? This is an okay episode.
Well, we're following up last week where we recorded what is our longest episode of all time.
Yeah, we knew that was coming. That was the most content loaded episode we've done too. It was a big couple of reveals there, one in particular. And now we've got some fallout from those big reveals. So, should we go ahead and dive into it?
Yeah, let's do it.
Let's do it then. This week we open with an external shot of the Palmer home at night as we faintly hear the horrible sound or the sounds of the horrible activities from that evening. We quickly fade into morning and move to the interior where Leland is practicing his chip shot in the living room. Donna and James show up for a visit to bid their farewell to Maddie, but Leland informs them that he took her to the bus station not 20 minutes before they arrived.
But she went there. This is the funny part, too. Like, her friends are so oblivious, but she drove there. She has her own car.
Mm-hmm.
And
bus station, huh?
And so it's like, well, what happened to her car? None of them think, or like the riders are just stupid. I'm not quite sure what is what here, but like this seems like a pretty good clue. They don't even address the car, but I mean,
I always just kind of thought that maybe she was borrowing, one of Leland or Sarah's cars when she was driving around.
I'm pretty sure she said she drove out there.
Did she?
Yeah.
Worth looking into. Not sure.
I'm pretty sure.
Found us another plot hole, folks. That's what we have Ian on the show for. Let's see.
The golf thing is funny, though. I will say this. The golf thing is funny. A lot of golf. A lot of balls.
A lot of golf. Oh, yeah. Balls everywhere.
Anyway.
And we don't see that shot until,
right.
James and Donna get the good look at it.
The giggles. Yeah.
Yeah. Leland does needle the kids a little bit by mentioning Maddie was disappointed they didn't show up last night. Yeah, I bet everybody's disappointed. Donna and James exchange guilty looks as Sarah calls Leland upstairs for a moment, then exchange amused looks as they notice the massive amount of golf balls strewn around the living room. Oh, that wacky Leland. As he returns downstairs, Leland suggests the teens write to poor dead Maddie and that she would love to hear from them.
Is it wacky Leland? Is it wacky Leland?
Yeah, or is it somebody else?
I guess we'll find out in a minute.
Just wearing Leland's flesh. The teens quickly but politely bid goodbye. As Leland adjusts his tie in the mirror, he gets another peek at the parasitic spirit inhabiting him before Sarah calls down to Leland to remind him to sign them up for the Glenn Miller night at the club. I had to rewind that dialogue 4 times and eventually resorted to the closed captions to try and figure out what the hell she was saying.
Oh, Glenn Miller? Oh, I caught that right
Yeah.
away. Oh, really?
Yeah, you must have been listening on better speakers than me.
Just my TV speakers.
But you were,
I'm just like, I'm tuned in. I'm just fucking.
You're tuned in. Yeah. Do.
What are you watching this on, though? Are you watching it on Amazon or are you watching on DVDs?
Well, I watched first run through this week on DVD at home. But I did my second run through with notes yesterday on the Paramount Plus subscription that I have access to in my house sitting.
Oh shit! You're watching this twice every week?
Every week, yeah.
Holy shit!
We've discussed this, dude.
For some reason that has missed my fucking. That is wild.
Yeah, no, I do it once through just to watch, unbroken, uninterrupted, for enjoyment, and then I do notes.
Gotcha.
Which takes a while.
You don't take any notes the first run at all?
Nope.
Oh wow, okay.
No interruption of any kind.
And how
I do my best to not even have to get up and take a leak. I just
all right.
Watch the whole thing.
I must have brought that up in a drunken stupor at the end of an episode. While I'm still sober-ish. What does that? Just we take a little segue here for a moment.
Yeah.
What does it look like? Do you watch them back to back, or do you watch them at different points in the week, or what is that?
I'll watch them generally on consecutive nights. So the schedule I work out for myself is I'll watch for fun Monday, watch for notes Tuesday.
Gotcha. All right.
Or sometimes watch for notes Wednesday if I'm behind the schedule.
Gotcha.
But that's generally how I prepare.
Oh, so I prepare. I've already probably mentioned it, but I watch this like an hour or 2 hours right before we record. But I make sure I block out that whole time. So that's what I'm doing that night. So Bryn knows that this is what I'm doing tonight, and I will watch and then, just kind of look through my notes and then be prepped. And I don't watch it twice.
Oh, and
that would kill me. I don't know if I could do that. I don't know.
Twice, and then I've got the trivia research to do too.
Oh boy!
So I read the wiki, the fandom wiki page for each episode, regular wiki, IMDb, all that fun shit.
Yeah, I'll go through.
That's the Wednesday night.
I'll take my notes while I'm watching it, and then after, if there's any names that I need to research or anything, I feel like I should double check up on, then I'll Wikipedia that shit or whatever. But yeah,
right.
You love the show, so I get it. You watch it twice.
Yeah, I mean, this is.
I don't.
And I want to be able to see it unbroken to get the feel for that whole hour.
I got you.
And to to see the things I missed. I take mental notes.
Right.
On that first run through about quotes I want to use for the hashtags in the social media posts. Or, just actors or actresses that I take note of. I'm like, do I recognize them? People that I want to look up later on.
Here's an even deeper segue. What do you... So Monday, Tuesday nights, you watch this. What do you pair... Is this the first show you watch in the night of TV shows or whatever you're going to do, video games? Or do you pair it with something? Do you watch something else before Twin Peaks? Or is it
I kind of Usually when I get home and I'm prepping dinner and doing my, unwinding stuff, I'll have Simpsons or something similar on in the background. That's kind of my just TV comfort food.
Right.
So I'm not really watching that. But I mean, the way my night runs, it's pretty much all I do.
Gotcha.
That's the only TV I end up watching, and then I doom scroll on Instagram for an hour.
Oh, don't do that.
I know, it's bad for me.
Don't do that.
It's really bad for me.
Stop that.
Yeah, I do.
All right.
But no, I generally don't dive into anything else other than maybe, an hour on the PlayStation.
Oh, really? Interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Let's get back to it.
Well, but my watch with notes. I timed myself on that last night when I did this, and it took me 2 hours.
Whoa!
Because I'll erase certain notes, and then I'll go back and do them again. Okay. I'll do some editing on the fly, and I'll usually take voice notes.
Gotcha.
And when I do that, I'll pause because I don't want certain things to like bleed into it. I don't want to lose my place in the episode. Sometimes I will fast forward through certain stuff. If I don't like, if I had a summary basically written in my head already, I'll just be like, okay, skip this. This isn't important. But I don't do quite as much of that. I'm going to end up doing a lot more of it in the next few episodes. I get the feeling.
Got you.
Yeah, I'll you'll know it when you get to it.
Yeah, I do a lot of trigger word, like little trigger phrases that trigger the thoughts I have. So I don't write like full thoughts out unless I feel like it's really important. But a lot of times it's like I can just write a few, like 2 or 3 words, and it just. But I'm not like doing what you're doing. I'm not trying to like recap the entire
you're the color
episode.
guy.
I'm just exactly.
Yeah, I'm play by play.
Let's get back to it then.
Alrighty. What we're getting to is Leland grabbing his golf bag out of the closet, which just happens to contain Maddie's body. I guess he also calls his golf bag the bus station. Leland lowers the hood of his convertible on this sunny March morning in northern Washington and drives off cheerfully, humming Rodgers and Hammerstein show tunes. I thought it was pretty fascinating how Leland could sling an entire dead body under one arm.
It's easy.
She must have been, eating disorder or something.
Maybe the parasite gives him added power.
Could
added
be.
Strength.
Could
maybe,
be. Fair enough. Superhuman Bob strength is what leads him there. Meanwhile, a fussy Ben Horn is getting used to the sparse accommodations of the sheriff's holding cells, polishing the bars and attempting to brush his teeth in the god-awful sink. He also receives an early morning visitor in the form of a very jet-lagged little brother.
No food, though.
No food this scene. This scene was wistful nostalgia instead, which is also a pretty common theme with the Horn brothers.
Yeah.
Since Ben's usual attorney is also under indictment for murder, Jerry will be representing Ben in his case. Jerry displays a rudimentary understanding of his role as a defense attorney, as Ben points out that his legitimate alibi for the night of Laura's murder is Catherine, whom, as far as the Horn brothers know, is nothing but Ash now. But, as we know, is just yellow-facing it. She is full-on Linda Hunting it now.
Not racist at all, Catherine.
Hey, remember that Linda Hunt won an Oscar for that shit. Billy Tan, baby. That's a deep dive. Lamenting the hopelessness of the situation, Jerry ruminates on a memory inspired by the sight of the bunk beds in the cell. Louise Dombrowski dancing on the hook rug with a flashlight. The escapism of the fond memories of youth. I watched this flashback scene, and all I could think of in my head was this bit going around on the social media of David Lynch backstage going, who the fuck cares how long a scene is?
Oh.
Like, that's all that was running through my head.
It goes on for a while.
It does. It was like, I think I timed it at like about 2 minutes or so, which isn't really all that long in real life.
It's a weird flashback.
But in television time, that's an eternity.
It's like you have these two like pervy, nerdy kids on their bunk beds, staring at this, I guess, hot woman. We don't really. I mean, her figure.
There's no establishment of like what her relation is.
Yeah,
to them. Like, this is their bedroom.
They're just staring at her.
A nanny to them, or a babysitter, or something.
And they're just like got boners,
Yeah, just.
And then it cuts back to these two guys on bunk beds with boners.
Yeah.
Basically, it's just like
thinking about old teenage boners that they used to get.
I don't even think they were teenagers. They were like preteens in that fucking.
Yeah, that was. Jerry, at least, was a preteen.
I don't know. They look both pretty fucking young, dude. It looked like fucking like Christmas Story level, like just.
Oh, anyway. And that would have been the correct age for them. I mean, if you look at them as in their 40s in the early 90s, then mid to late 50s would have been their jam, Yeah.
Anyway,
those look exactly like the pictures of my uncle in those days.
This is another thing I wrote only because I don't write a lot in between these next few scenes because I was just kind of. But I will say this, because Jerry shows up, and then we have a bunch of other regulars we haven't seen in a while show up in this episode.
We do, and a lot of them with new family members attached, which has been some interesting developments.
Or whole new family members we've never met before. Anyway.
Right. Yeah. I mean, at least one of them had been mentioned previously.
Anyway, it's wild.
But yeah, some surprises this week coming up. I do want to make a quick mention of one of the deleted scenes that I get to see in the box set. It's another nostalgia scene with the Horn brothers. It's old movie footage of the groundbreaking ceremony of the Great Northern Hotel, with their father holding the shovel and, their mother looking very Jackie O.
Okay. Do you know where that was supposed to go in the episode?
I don't know if it was this episode or which episode it was.
Okay.
It stood alone, like it didn't have any dialogue with the actors attached to it. So who knows where that was supposed to go. Most of the deleted scenes that I saw in that reel were from the first and second episodes.
Gotcha.
So could have been somewhere in there, but that's just a theory.
Cool.
Quick visit to the sheriff's station where we see Lucy returning to town with her nephew and her motormouth sister Gwen in tow. Brilliant piece of casting here. This is very believable that these two are blood related, 100%. An amusing introduction to Hawk demonstrates Gwen as well-meaning, if not terribly bright. And a gracious Hawk deflects her utter ignorance with a little dry wit. Some of my best friends are white people.
Mm-hmm. Yep. That was totally cringe, that whole sequence.
It was,
as the kids say.
Honestly, dude, it was kind of prophetic,
Was it?
I mean,
oh my God, you are just in love with this show. That's I was just like, ugh.
You didn't see a lot of calling out of the whole left-wing white savior bullshit in that day and age. Those people weren't lampooned on television.
This was such a
very often.
Gabe, this was such a woke episode.
Just wait, man. Just wait.
Just wait.
Right?
Oh,
yeah.
Geez.
Yep.
No, you were right about the casting as her sister. They're like perfectly cast because they're both. It's kind of funny, but then I was just like waiting. The gag that ultimately does happen. I saw it. You see the gag walk in the door, because the one sister is holding all the bags and stuff, and you see Lucy holding the baby, and you're like, okay, I know where this is gonna go. Even though this is not where it's gonna go, like it's not her baby, obviously, but it's just funny. Like exactly where it's gonna go. Anyway.
Oh yeah. But it's still, I found it amusing. It was entertaining to me.
Well, the Hawk stuff is cringe, but okay.
You didn't like that line?
It's fine. It is very 90s. It is so.
I just thought it was very in character.
You know what I watched the other night that puts that in perspective a little bit? For some reason, I just felt like watching this movie. I've seen it. Finding Forrester, Sean Connery, and it's
You're the man now, dog.
Yeah, exactly. It's 100% that shit. It's like that kind of, like, and you have White Wizard helping, this inner city youth African American kid. It's just, and that you get the same kind of like. Anyway.
Yeah, I get. Yeah, totally get where you're going with that. Real quick, we'll talk about the actress who plays Gwen here. I'm going to ask you to look her up real quick.
Oh, okay. I do recognize her, but I actually didn't look her up.
I want to say it's Catherine Wilhoit. If not that, Kathleen Wilhoit.
Wilhoit?
Wilhoite. Catherine or Kathleen would definitely be with a K.
With a K?
Yeah.
Oh. Katie Wilhoit, maybe?
Katie Wilhoit could be. Bring it up.
I'm looking. No, that's all she's in. Maybe not her. All right, sorry.
Maybe bring up the episode.
That's probably better, actually, huh? That's probably smarter.
Yeah. I'll continue with the
Yeah.
summary while
Yes.
you
Do
do
some stuff. Do some work.
that. Carry the load. Cooper and Harry are making their way down the hallway of the Great Northern as Cooper dictates to Diane via tape recorder his musings on what the one-armed man might have been in some other society and some other time. Very Cooper-esque of him. They come upon Leland entertaining the guests in the lobby with his best Fred Astaire routine, and Coop decides that breaking the unfortunate news of Ben's arrest should fall to Harry. Leland displays all the normal human reactions to such news: shock, disbelief, dismay, but eventually faith that justice will prevail. He makes his way out of the room as his fake sobs turn into maniacal laughter. Cooper takes another moment to approach Leland and speak to him alone. It's clear he senses something is amiss with Mr. Palmer, who resumes putting on the Ritz as soon as he's sure he's out of Harry and Cooper's view.
Okay.
Still working, huh? All right.
They didn't have any actual episodes. Oh, I found her.
There we go.
Kathleen Wilhoit.
Kathleen. Okay. So I'll jump into what I remember with her, which is long list of credits that runs all the way from Family Ties to Yellowstone. That's a broad list. But the one that caught my attention was a movie she was cast in a couple years after her run here in Twin Peaks. In a fun little coincidence, going back to last week's episode, she had appeared in Fire in the Sky as the wife.
That's funny.
As the wife of Robert Patrick's character, who was the best friend of the abductee.
Yeah.
But I thought that was some pretty hilarious mojo seeing that pop up where it did.
She's in fucking Roadhouse.
Yeah, in Roadhouse.
Leading role in Murphy's Law.
Mm-hmm. So, yeah.
She's been around.
She's been around. She's probably got a really nice house in the Hollywood Hills, and God bless her for it. I'm jealous as fuck.
She's still active, supposedly.
Yeah, like I said, Yellowstone, I think, was the most recent.
No, actually,
CSI. CSI.
CSI Vegas, I think. Or
there's a CSI Vegas now?
Yeah, CSI Vegas. 3 episodes.
All right.
It's the last thing. Yellowstone, she had an episode. In 2020.
All right. Oh, so.
Oh, wow. She has 2 albums out, too.
Albums, even?
Yeah, full on fucking albums. Not like she did some songs. She has 98 and 2000 she released 2 albums.
Multi-talented. All right, Kathleen. Apologize for mangling your name earlier. We like your work. Keep it up. Now we're in the interrogation room at the sheriff's station. Dr. Hayward is collecting a blood sample from Big Baby Ben Horn, while Jerry uses a lot of lawyer speak to express his indignation at the circumstances. Cooper quickly shuts Jerry up by reciting his extensive knowledge of the younger Horn's dubious career in law before confronting Ben with the remains of Laura's secret diary. Gonzaga, huh? At least it wasn't Arizona State.
Oh, my God.
Cooper uses his federally honed interrogation skills to rapidly get under Ben's skin and rile him up. After Jerry convinces Harry and Coop to give him a minute alone with his client, he suggests to his brother that he find a better attorney. And now it seems that Ben Horn's problems are about to compound as Bobby has discovered the contents of the tape he found in Leo's boot. Seems as though Leo secretly recorded the conversation between him and Ben where he was solicited to perform arson on the Packard sawmill. Bobby here, moving on from insurance fraud to blackmail.
Wise.
Quite the career he's working up for himself, huh?
We don't know how good of a student he is, so clearly this is his only option.
Dude, if he hasn't flunked out by now,
Does he ever go to school? I don't know.
We haven't seen it in at least 10 episodes?
I don't.
12? I mean, we just got mention of his parents again last week, so.
At least, okay. Here's my complaint with this show currently. At least they're
Mhm.
giving Bobby a continuing plot line or
Yeah.
thread. They really just let the main character kids of the show so far just kind of off. Like they're just kind of
Like Donna and James and
Donna and
Audrey.
James and Audrey. It's just like, you know, I know that it's kind of wrapped. Here's the thing: like they wrapped up the main murder plot, right?
Mhm.
And they should have probably wrapped up a bunch of the other shitty adult subplots that they got going on. But did they? No, they didn't. But what do they do in this episode? Oh, they create some other shitty adult subplots that I don't care about. The characters that I care about, they don't bother bringing that shit back into this show because David Lynch cares more about young people. And most of it, like if you watch his movies, that's more of his thing. And the fact that these writers are just like writing these like fucking old fogey bullshit subplots, it's just like this is kind of my main complaint. It's like this episode could have made or break. Obviously, it broke this show, but it could have made this show better if there was some other shit going on within those characters. You know, 'cause
So,
those are the main characters. I mean, maybe they get some more stuff to do later on, but like those are the characters we care about ultimately, and that's the shit that needs to carry this show forward, not this fucking Henry or Hank or whatever the fuck. Like, who cares, dude? Like, serious? Like, this is the subplot where, like, fuck me.
So you've told me in previous episodes that you're definitely invested in Cooper as a character.
Yeah, but
like
Coop's
which-
always going to be
and-
there, right?
Right. And Audrey, obviously, is another one of your favorites.
And you've already
What
kind
other-
of leaked that Audrey gets sidelined in this season.
I mean,
No,
she
and
does
I
get her
get-
own stuff to do.
No, but I get that
Like, a lot of these
James.
characters get their own stuff to do, but it's not fun stuff.
No, but I
unfortunately.
get that James and Donna are kind of. I mean, in the first season, there was a big deal. This so far in this,
Are you getting invested in this teenage love story? With
no.
James and Donna?
What I'm saying is those two characters are kind of the main. They were kind of main characters. They were main kind of serious characters. Like if you told me what were the main characters in the first season,
Mhm.
I would say the kids, Cooper, Truman, and then the subplot was all the Horn, Catherine.
Right.
You know, and this stuff is like all the adult stuff is taking. I mean, obviously the murder is still a thing, but like all the other stuff's pushing for like Catherine and the wild yellow face. You know, it's just. I just
Well,
feel
that's
like
still part of
I know.
your original B plot in that respect. But I know which plot you're referring to, which we're going to get to pretty quickly here after one little interlude. But
Like
I
they
got to
should
warn you.
like they should have just killed what's his name? Not Logan.
Hank?
No,
Logan.
not Logan. Shelley's husband.
Oh, Leo.
Leo L. That guy should
Uh,
have just died. Like honestly, pointless.
I will say that Leo does not remain comatose for the remainder of the series.
No, I get
Spoiler
that. I get
alert.
that 100%. I 100% see that's like a fucking like no shit, Sherlock. Like
Right.
you know, it's just like you keeping him alive just means that you're going to use him, and he is the most soap opera thing in the show. It's just like it's just garbage. They should have killed off more people ultimately to make I don't know. I just anyway.
Yeah,
this-
you're still thinking of this in 21st century.
I
terms.
know. I know.
Not, I'd say that killing off Maddie in and of itself was a pretty major thing for them to do
Yeah, but that
in
makes
90s
sense.
television.
That makes sense.
It
but-
makes sense, but it was, again, a big death like that was not common in this day and age.
But I think some other people should have died, even if they weren't revealed till later. Or I just think some other deaths should have happened. Is all.
Well, you may yet get your wish. We'll see.
All right. Sorry to vent.
No, not at all. That's what you're here for, man. Color commentary. We're still at Bobby and Shelley's place. As Shelley enters the room splattered in food, apparently Leo is being a real problem child today.
Yeah, do we ever see the Major again?
Major Briggs? Yeah,
Yeah.
he'll come back.
Does he have some cool insight for Coop again?
Honestly, he does.
Oh my, what? He's like the Yoda of this universe.
Uh,
How weird?
that's
How weird is
pretty
that?
accurate,
How
honestly.
weird? How weird is that?
I
shit?
was going to argue that Gordon Cole, but no, he'd definitely be more of an Obi-Wan.
Mm-hmm. All right. Anyway,
What was I? Oh, I can't think of a Major Briggs line all of a sudden. Confidential, my work is. Bobby sweet talks Shelley with promises of rewards reaped from his latest get-rich-quick scheme, and all is right with the world again. Ugh. Bobby seems kind of scummy here. You know, I had hopes for him after that conversation he had with his dad. But, you know, it just seems like he's getting weirder. I mean, just like more and more criminal
he's
here.
a toxic character, and
He really does feel like
I think
it, yeah.
I think in a show like nowadays, you'd be like, he's toxic, and Shelley, at some point, it would have been maybe earlier, she would start to see that and want to get away from him, be afraid of him. She just seems like she's infatuated with him. But like, I think like her, like if you made her character like she was in on it at the beginning, but slowly starts to see how it's not working and starts to like pull away, and like then you start rooting for her to get away from him, and then you make him more of a villain. But then you make him. But here's the thing about this: is all like this is just, what do you call that? Just you're just making. I'm just making like random
making hay. Yeah.
You know.
I mean, I think
it'd be cool if you made Bob. Well, I think it'd just be cool if you made Bobby put a move on like Hank, let's say. You know, and then that became a tension and a subplot. You know, like.
Well, I mean, he is about to put a move on Ben Horn here, which is a pretty major thing.
Exactly. I just feel like it's so.
It's something else.
Right. I don't
He's
know.
getting all the good material, and you feel like that's unfair.
I think Shelley, you know, you don't really see her interact with anyone else but Bobby. You know?
Bobby and Norma, pretty much, yeah.
Yeah, but her.
I mean, you do get those couple of scenes of her with where she's being interrogated by the sheriff and Cooper.
But the problem with
which were fun scenes
with her relationship with Norma is that she's basically the mirror of Norma.
Yeah,
and
which
so like
we see a little bit of later on.
So maybe you actually get some honest dialogue and some
maybe
actual advice.
Norma's not necessarily a good role model for
I don't
Shelley
know.
in that regard,
because she's not handling her shit well either. So it's like
no, and she's also easily swayed by pretty words. So
like it'd be cool if she had another friend that then you shouldn't be doing that. Or, I don't know. It's just
yeah.
It's funny to look at how linear some of this thinking is in the writing in this episode, and how things have changed so much. You're right. I am that kind of mirror on that. I'm kind of
You're seeing it from a modern society point of view,
right?
And I mean, the honest truth is, like, you did not see a lot of characters like that,
right,
in television in this day and age. Like, I remember seeing a few examples of it, like what was the Clive Barker movie, Nightbreed, where there's like a big women's empowerment thing going on for an early part of it.
No
idea. But then that character ends up getting brutally murdered, so who knows where you take that. We're digressing here. So let's get back on track and head to the Double R Diner, where Norma's mother has arrived for a surprise visit. After some snarky comments about Hank and the mashed potatoes, Norma's mom Norma gets introduced to her mom's new husband, Ernie, a financial analyst who has a badly outdated sense of style. Think Mr. Furley garage sale.
Actually, their styles seem to match pretty well, though. They looked
the matching tweed jackets,
perfectly oldly
I noticed
dated.
That too. They definitely seemed like a honeymooning couple who had just gotten married in senior citizenship. Uh, but yeah, the tension between Norma and her mother is palpable as Mom fills the conversation with criticisms and backhanded compliments. As the happy couple head off to check in at the Great Northern, Norma notices some bookie notes written on the paper that Ernie left behind. Man, like, who eats off of Toad's plate? That was really impolite. Toad's a regular. He
Well,
doesn't
here's
deserve
here's
that kind
here's
of
here's the
treatment.
here's the crazy thing about that. Like, her mother is supposedly this high society kind of, like, she's
Yeah,
supposedly
you get
coming
the feeling
across.
that she's
You would she and you're talking about like etiquette and presentation. There's no way that she would just grab a fork and take some food off some random, especially that dude's plate.
she would do it to piss her daughter off. I
I
get the
don't think so. I don't
impression.
think she. I
Like,
don't. I don't even buy that. I don't buy that at all. I don't buy.
I mean, it does. Yeah, like,
I don't think that character would eat off someone else's plate. If that
well, yeah,
character would only eat off their own plate, they would never.
not even off of her newlywed husband's.
Maybe
I
that's
think she's
different
too
though.
fastidious
That's
for that. Yeah,
different. But that's
but
you're
not
not.
off of the trucker who just sat down.
Well, come on. He's not a trucker. He's a fucking
You don't think Toad would be a trucker?
dude. He can barely
I get
fucking function.
just because he can't speak doesn't mean he can't drive. I really get the impression that that's his job. He drives a logging truck, and the diner is along his route, and
Okay,
that's
sure.
why he's a regular there.
I'll give it
That's
to you.
my
I'll
made-up
let you have it.
backstory
I'll
for
let
Toad.
you have
Yeah.
it. I'll let you have
Anybody
it.
else have one? Chime in the comments section.
But I don't think that she would have eaten off his
That's
plate.
our challenge to our listeners. Give us a Toad backstory.
Like, is it
Let
flakes
us
or
know what.
is it flakes or real potato?
What was something else I wanted to mention?
You know
Oh
what's
yeah,
also
do we want to talk
you know
about?
what's also crazy, Gabe?
Hmm.
Is that I bet you 100% it was flakes.
And she didn't notice.
No, because it's a production food.
Oh, like actual.
It was
food on
actual
the
flakes.
plate.
Like, Norma's not lying in her character. She's like, it was actually made in her thing. But I doubt
Yeah,
it was
but the
actual
food on
potatoes.
set.
I bet you
Yeah,
100% it was flakes.
Well, I mean, I don't know. They are filming on set on at a real diner.
Hmm.
It's a possibility. We
Mm.
don't know who was in the kitchen that day.
The flakes are not bad. They're just dehydrated potatoes. Come on. Anyway,
I find they tend to be of a smoother texture.
it looked pretty.
If you don't like
it
lumpy
looked pretty
potatoes,
fucking
flakes are the way
smooth,
to go.
dude.
They did. Industrial size blender.
Anyway,
That's what Hank did in prison. He mashed potatoes all day long. So now
I
he's really good at
I
it.
like that. That's her, like. I don't
Her
know.
barometer, like, is
Yeah,
the potatoes.
yeah.
If
It's
you're going to
like,
test one thing at the diner, test the potatoes. Under watch at his room in the Great Northern, Philip Gerard, or rather Mike, given the metallic ring to his voice, wakes with a start and mutters, "He's close." He innocently asks the nurse for a glass of water. When she leaves to get it, the deputy goes to maintain watch and is promptly clubbed over the head by Mike with something heavy. Mike offers a sincere apology as he escapes out the window. You know what I liked about this scene? Is that the deputy was not just like, ugh, like dead on the floor,
oh, he
unconscious.
keeps working. He's like,
Like, he's like, I mean, he's dazed and he's clearly not able to function. But like, one of the things that like is a pet peeve of mine is like, if you're knocked unconscious to that degree after a hit on the head, like, you better get your ass to the hospital because you've got a brain bleed or some shit.
but then
Like, those people,
my thought to this was, why wasn't he just already gone when he came back in?
right? Like, he had
Why did he have
in
to
the
attack
time,
him and then go out the
yeah,
window? Because
he looked like he had plenty of time to just barrel right out because it was already open.
yeah,
Just
it's
like,
so random.
he's even got, he's even narrower, missing that arm.
I don't know. It's
He
just,
just died right off.
it seems like such a like if you're captive, you want to escape. Like, taking the risk of attacking someone then escaping. If your escape is already like you could do it, I just feel like you just take it. if you wait, like I don't know. I also
Yeah.
find it funny, like why is he? They don't really explain it, but why is he there? Why didn't they take him to a cell and then he's somewhere locked up and
Well,
watched?
because he's not like, I don't know. I guess they consider him more of a mental health prisoner than a like suspect in any kind of a crime. So maybe they feel like he deserves better accommodations. I don't know. It does
It was
seem
a weird.
strange. It
Anyway,
was weird.
anyway,
But anyway,
but anyway,
seemingly inconsequential.
I guess
Right
so.
back to the Double R, where Hank is finally showing up after his adventure at One Eyed Jack's. Wonder what kind of arrangement he and Jean Renault have come to. Last we saw, he had a knife at his throat. He tries to explain himself to Norma, but she is rightfully pissed and lays into him while her mother looks on uncomfortably from the kitchen where she's preparing a pie. Despite receiving strict instructions not to sweet talk Norma, Hank manages to sweet talk Norma anyway. Fuck, this guy is good. His sob story about bad people from his past catching up with him convinces Norma to do a 180 from raging anger to lovey dovey in about 90 seconds. Norma's mom, who it turns out is named Vivian, makes her presence known. Hank charms her as well, and the trio make plans to meet for dinner that night with Vivian's new husband. So, Vivian, did you look her up at all?
I didn't.
The actress's name is Jane Greer.
Mm, okay.
She might tickle your memories if you know anything about Howard Hughes.
Oh, really?
She was a discovery of his, and one of those people that he, like tried to manipulate and like forbade from working for anybody but him, and was weirdly controlling of. But yeah, she got her start as a Life magazine cover model in 1943.
Wow.
And then, yeah, went on to do a lot of big Hollywood productions for RKO and for a lot of the studios at the time. Dick Tracy was one of them. I don't know a lot about old Hollywood, so none of those titles really rang a bell for me. But, Lynch
What
being
is her
obsessed.
name?
Jane Greer.
Jane Greer. All right.
She did retire in 96. Twin Peaks was her last TV credit. Although I think she did a couple of movies in the years after.
Interesting.
So yeah,
Any of
another Hollywood
Wow,
legend.
she made a lot of movies.
She did.
None of these. Do I know any of these movies? It doesn't look. Aside from Dick Tracy, I don't really.
Right, yeah, that's the only title I recognize.
Even her like
And not because it was a movie in the 40s, because I knew it from the 90s.
Oh, interesting. Anyway, yeah, that's fun. That's cool.
So yeah, interesting bit about her. Harry is visited by Pete in his office at the fair station, where the two bond over a shared interest in bird watching and their mutual love of Josie, and how sad they both are that she left. They're both starting to realize something strange is afoot when they understand that she explained her relationship to Jonathan very differently to each of them. But before they can further explore this little fib of hers, Cooper interrupts with the news that Gerard/Mike has escaped. They cross paths with Andy at the door, who promptly faints when he sees a newborn in Lucy's arms, assuming it's hers, I suppose. Guess he didn't pass biology class. No comments about this bullshit, I assume?
I mean, this is what I referred to earlier about the joke that was going to happen because Lucy was carrying a baby, and I just knew that this is what they were working up to. They were working up to this slapstick joke, and it's a long time span. It's not like they did it, had a scene, and then came back to it. It's like they did it multiple scenes, and then, oh yeah, hey, this is that joke. Like the joke timing on this is awful. But whatever. I would have done it way sooner in the episode. Obviously they couldn't have done that because of the way the one-armed man and all that stuff. So, I don't know. I don't really.
So you would have had Andy just in the room as they made their entrance, she and Gwen the first time?
Yeah, I would have made that way sooner.
Yeah, skip the whole Hawk thing.
No, they could have done the Hawk thing, and then something else could have happened. Had a little donut, coffee, and then
Yeah, I didn't see any donuts in this episode.
No Donnie.
Did you?
I don't even.
No Donnie.
There's not even really any coffee. He gets her like Norma gets what's his name coffee, but
Ernie.
do I even remember him drinking?
Cooper doesn't drink any coffee.
No, yeah.
He does have a cherry pie at the end.
It's a very weird episode. It's very.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah, it's a Fallout episode, which again, that's something that was relatively new in this day and age for long-term storytelling.
These are the best episodes, though. These are the episodes. If I were a director on a television show that had to follow up something like this, I would go out of my fucking way to make this episode better than that episode. Like, I would just this is. Because this is where you're going. This is probably where they lost. This is probably where they lost all the fans, right? They probably lost all the viewing after the last episode. You know what I'm saying?
Well, because I forgot my tablet, I don't have the ratings info for this week. But from what I remember, it was a pretty steep drop off, but it wasn't that much lower than it had been the previous week. So I would guess. Like, from what I saw, they just kind of lost the bump they got from the big reveal, but it didn't really start to drop for another couple of weeks or so.
Gotcha. I just would have started. I just would have started throwing Hail Marys and just started doing crazy shit. Like, hey, this show's crazy. Let's just start fucking doing crazy shit.
Hey, we still got a lot of ground to cover. There's a lot of crazy shit that could happen between now and episode 22, and believe me, there is. Right now, though, it seems that Pete has an ulterior motive for visiting the sheriff's station, as he sneaks into the holding cell area to play Ben Horn a recorded message from Catherine. Turns out, Catherine is willing to be an alibi for a price, and that price is Ghostwood and the mill. Pete takes cruel pleasure in Ben's fury as he heads out the door, leaving Ben to attempt to destroy what little furniture is in his cell. What do you think about Pete here?
Okay, this is. I'm watching this sequence, and it's just kind of brutal. Pete is just.
This is the first time we've seen him be malicious.
He's malicious.
Any kind of way.
But he's also getting, I mean, obviously he knows, because he's still technically married to Catherine, right?
Right, yeah.
So he's hearing her say that she was,
right?
Her fidelity, she was fucking, Horn. And he's but doesn't really have any emotion to that. And then Ben, this scene is bad comedy, in my opinion. And so, you know what's funny? As I'm watching this is the quote that came to me, and this is awful. But I go, the quote I just pulled at a random when I'm watching this is what it's making me think of. Coronation Starscream, this is bad comedy. That's literally the quote that came to my head while I'm watching this. It's just fucking.
R.I.P. Leonard Nimoy.
It's a goofy saying. Obviously, I get it 100%. I get how it drives the series, but Pete dancing around and Ben just
serving as Catherine's flying monkey. It seems he's seemed like just such a sweetheart and just such a pure soul up until now.
But we know that he was in love with Josie.
Yeah.
From earlier.
Maybe he's got a side chick that we don't know about.
I don't think so.
There's very little we see.
I think he probably knew that Catherine was up to something else, obviously, because they weren't getting along.
I mean, he seems like he's comfortable in his life. Like, he gets to fish whenever he wants. He gets to live in a giant mansion on the shore.
But he
You
had
know,
he
does
did
what he loves
he
for a
didn't have
living.
sex with Josie, but he fell in love with her, and obviously he cheated on his wife, and his wife cheated on him, and I think
From an
that's
emotional affair
I think
standpoint.
because I think they tapped out of their relationship, and I don't think Pete and Catherine are really they're together, obviously, because they have a
Mhm.
shared interest, and they do have history, but I don't think they're not the happy couple. They're just working towards a means here, and I think that's what this
Right.
is. And I think that
They're
was
more of a business partner
but I think that was
relationship
the
at this point.
importance of the scene earlier in Truman's office when he says, like, I was in love with her. And I think that's kind of like, that
That's
kind of
fair.
separates. He was trying to be loyal, even though he was physically loyal, but mentally he was not loyal. She was
So
mentally,
he has
physically.
guilt over that. Yeah.
Right. And I just feel like
Understandable.
so I think, but it is kind of crazy that he just is kind of this like, yeah, suck it, motherfucker.
Yeah. Not that Ben doesn't
I
deserve
hoard
that
out
kind of
my wife to
treatment by
you
any
so I can
means.
fucking get all this shit, bitch. Yeah, it was my master plan.
Yeah,
Yeah.
oh, isn't she brilliant?
Yeah. Anyway, I don't know.
Yeah.
But
What
yeah.
we haven't really talked about Jack Nance, the actor who plays Pete. His story kind of comes to a sad end, so we'll want to revisit that when I've got the proper time to dig into it. But what do you think of him, like, in this role? Like, what's your take on him as an actor in this part?
He's like a
Like, does he
he's like a
seem
bumbling like a bumbling savant.
right? But what's your evaluation of, like, how he plays that? Like, does he do it well? Or is this like an over the top? Is this one of those performances that makes you cringe every time
It's
he's on
over
screen?
top. Like I don't when I yeah, I'm not looking for quality every time he's on screen.
Okay.
It's not like Pete's not one of my favorite characters. If that's Pete's a character.
Huh.
He's actually kind of creepy. Like anytime him and Josie were in a scene together, I always found him just incredibly creepy.
Well, now we understand why.
Yeah, no, 100%. No, but I knew that. I mean, him saying that to Truman that he was in love with her was like, no shit, motherfucker. I knew you were in love with her. I just didn't think that. I honestly didn't think they were going to address it.
Dude,
I
think we
honestly
all are.
didn't think they were going to
I think
address
we
that
all
shit.
are a little bit.
I just didn't think they were going to address it. I just thought that's just what it was.
Yeah. Just leave it hanging.
He's fine. He kind of just seems like he's like one of those guys that's like in a horror movie and he's kind of like, hey, brothers, do you want to go fishing? And then he gets killed, It's like, it's just, maybe he has, you shouldn't go out at night. He has something wise to say every once in a while, but then
Right,
gets
yeah.
fucking killed at the end, because he doesn't follow it. He doesn't follow his own advice,
Yeah. He's the old man running the gas station on the road along the way to camp or whatever.
Right.
Yeah.
He's fine. He services because the show's limited. Whatever it is, he fits within the show perfectly fine.
Well, and he's another one of, like, the close Lynch friends.
Of course.
Like, he was the lead in Eraserhead.
Yeah. Okay. There you go.
So
I've never seen Eraserhead, so you can't throw that knowledge at me. Of course.
you've seen more Lynch movies than I have, so I thought that one might be among them.
Maybe. No.
And I have seen that movie, but it was a long, long time ago when I was very young, and I've forgotten the majority of it. Other than it made me very uncomfortable.
Yeah, that's what I hear.
Yeah. We're here on the road as Leland is weaving heedlessly from lane to lane as he croons show tunes, very nearly causing an accident with Cooper and Harry. He chalks his distracted driving up to the challenging news he received earlier in the day, and the two lawmen are quick to believe him. Leland spins a tall tale about an angry phone call he heard Ben Horn take the night Laura died, as Harry runs back to the truck to answer a call from Lucy. Leland offers to show Cooper his new clubs, which, let's not forget, are in the same bag with Maddie's body. Cooper does not notice this as he's checking back on Harry, nor does he see Leland approaching from behind with a club slightly raised. Cooper, however, doesn't seem to be bothered to see the raised club as he turns to face Leland to say, "Farewell, got work to do." Once the law is out of sight, Leland's face goes dead as he sits back down in the car and adjusts the rearview mirror. Bob smiles back at him in the reflection.
This is one of those reveals, or those like anti-reveals that just kind of like, ugh. Or like, you know how in movies when like they separate and they're getting close to each other but they never make it and then they like go away. It's just like
they've got like their backs against each other on the same wall, but they don't know it.
I like to call these the edgelord reveals. Like, no, nope. And it's just like, oh, cool. We were so close.
Oh God, is that where the term comes from? I never knew that.
Edgelord?
I thought it was they always consider themselves edgy.
No, edgelord.
Yeah, okay.
I think
I didn't need to know that.
That's my
that's your
interpretation of getting something. You're about to get something awesome, but you control it. You bring it back down, but to, just to fuck with everyone else or whatever. That's my understanding. Anyway, whatever. Yeah. But it was like, this is probably one of the originals. Like. Nowadays it's a different thing, but back then it's new, and it's like yeah, we almost did it, but
I mean, and here's kind of what I wondered about this scene is like, is Leland Bob really going to try and just like brain Cooper in front of Harry? Like, seems like he's going to go after Cooper with the club for a second.
Yeah, like why did he even offer it up? Like Coop didn't even give a shit. Like they weren't going to search the car or anything. Like Bob really offered it up.
Why would he even take the risk of attacking Cooper with Harry right there?
Yeah, it's wild.
Like it's not like Harry wouldn't come and grab Cooper at some point. And I don't think he thought he could take both of them, but I don't know. That implied threat of violence against Cooper, it just seemed like forced, It's like there's no way that would have progressed logically. There was never any legitimate threat to Cooper at that point.
Right.
Whether or not Leland was in control of his faculties or not.
Here's something I don't know if we talked about. We talked a lot last week about the show and everything went down. I don't remember actually talking about this, and maybe I did. I actually like the idea that Leland is the villain. Like, I don't know what everyone else, who they thought it was going to be or who you hoped it was going to be. But I like the fact that Leland or Bob possessed by Leland is the murderer. Mm-hmm. I like that concept. I actually hope that Leland
was let down by it. Like, I don't think anybody saw that as a negative when it happened.
Do we know if Leland is possessed by Bob is the one that killed Laura, or do we know that Bob killed Laura but we don't know who he was possessed by? Like, do we know that? Is there anywhere that's written?
Yeah.
Oh, we do.
Yeah.
But we don't know.
I mean, not now.
But we find that out.
But it gets concretely confirmed in upcoming episodes.
Okay.
I like where you're drifting with that theory, and it would be a great swerve. But man, you're 30 years ahead of the curve again here.
All right. I just
love it, dude. As a pitch, I love it.
Well, here's the thing. I'm just watching this. Here's the other thing when I'm watching this is like, man, it's gimmicky and weird, but like, how would I make this better? How would I fix this and push? Like, what would I do? And I like that Leland is the villain. Even though it's Bob, Leland possessed by Bob, but I like that. I think I don't know how everyone felt about it at the time, but I think that's a great fucking choice.
Yeah,
anyway.
Yeah, I agree with you.
So
I think it serves the story very well. And we get a lot deeper into that once we hit Fire Walk with Me, trust me.
Okay.
We get to see Ray Wise flex his acting muscles a whole lot more in that film.
Cool.
Than we do in the series.
All right.
But I mean, this particular episode is really just kind of a showcase for him.
Oh, it is. He's got a lot. He's all over the place.
yeah, this is his episode for sure, and we get to see his whole range here. We didn't really touch on it when we covered it in the summary here, but the scene where he's like going back and forth between laughing and crying into the club, I really thought it was really well done. Like that is somebody on that border of insanity, and like the amount that he starts sweating, like I get the feeling that wasn't makeup. Like that was him
Mm-hmm.
just so deep into the character at that point that he like generally brought himself to that point.
It's kind of funny too
So
because
I
earlier
know
on,
I know you expressed a little disdain for his
early,
earlier performances,
but then
but I feel like
it's explained because he's possessed by Bob. Maybe it's explained that
right.
his outward character is different because he has this other character in him. So it all kind
Mhm.
of that all kind of explains itself, you know? And then I 100% agree. Like once you know that he's that character, that he's this two-party system that's working, and you never really know if he's I mean, is he ever really Leland or is he just always Bob? Like
You understand eventually that there are moments where he is Leland,
okay.
but like Bob has been like from what Mike tells us, Bob has been inhabiting Leland for about 40 years at this point.
Gotcha.
So, Bob may just be able to do his Leland well enough where that line gets really blurred, especially in these reveal episodes.
Right.
Like, so let's say the funeral. I think that was Leland. I don't think Bob would have drawn any pleasure from being there for that. Um, but like the morning conversation with Donna and James, like that seemed like very much like real Leland, but I don't think at that point any of real Leland was actually in there. I think Bob was fully behind the wheel right there, and also when Harry delivers the news that they arrested Ben, and his reaction, like that's why I made the whole human emotions comment, is I really think Bob is in full control at that point, and he's just been in Leland long enough to be that good of a mimic of him, where that when he is in full control, he can make anyone believe that, oh
Or
yeah, this is Leland.
perhaps he can just call upon I mean, he's in the body with Leland. Maybe he can just call upon those emotions to just
Right? Yeah, we don't understand how that bond
yeah, we
works.
don't know. He can let those emotions leak out, but he still has control, you know. We don't know how,
Mhm.
yeah, you know. So
See, now you're getting it. This is the
no,
kind of discussion that keeps this shit alive.
I get what you I no 100%.
Yeah.
Another thing I
See?
forgot to bring up, and I probably should have brought up, is that back last episode when he's killing Maddie, his wife does come downstairs, right?
Yeah. But
So
she falls unconscious at some point.
is that what
Like
it?
she just kind of
Yeah,
yeah, I don't know if this is ever overtly mentioned,
I don't think it
but the
is.
implication is that Leland drugged her.
Oh,
What?
okay. I th-
Because she's like crawling down the stairs, she can't use her
I think
legs, she
you're
sees
right.
the
I think
horse,
it
and then
is
she kind of
mentioned.
passes out.
I think it is mentioned, or there is. I do remember that from last week. It's just funny that this episode she's like, oh, come upstairs and or don't
Yeah,
forget.
like nothing's wrong. Like,
But I also think it would have
I
been
remember
cool.
she was like that when they had that conversation with Maddie when she said she was moving back.
I would have been more
Like that was very
aggressive.
much a normal
I
morning.
would have been more aggressive with that relationship. That the murder of her daughter would have been really aggressive on her. Obviously, it was.
Hmm.
That I think anything that she saw in front of her, she wouldn't think is real. I think he could have killed Maddie in front of her, and she would have just thought it wasn't real. She would have thought it was just her seeing Laura Palmer being killed, her daughter being killed again, and I would have
Yeah.
pushed that. I think that's what I was thinking. Watching her, like she just didn't really care, and then the whole Glenn Miller thing, and like I just it
Hmm.
would be what a trip that would be. Like she just Maddie doesn't exist to her.
Yeah,
Anyway.
that's an interesting take. And, we may get into those themes again a little deeper, like especially in Fire Walk with Me.
Well, it's a very David
We
Lynch
get
thing to do anyway.
it is, yeah. But that dynamic, again, let's revisit the fact that in Laura's diary, she mentions that Bob has been abusing her since she was, adolescent.
You take a
And
lot
now
of
that we know,
yeah. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
and now that we know that Bob is essentially her father,
Right.
what is Sarah's part in all of those years? Like, did Leland drug her every night that Bob took him over?
I mean,
how much
if
did
he's
Sarah
been in
know?
her, if he's been inside him forever, like, did Bob basically kill his daughter?
Interesting.
Anyway,
that's something I don't think anybody ever touches on.
Because if he's been around, I mean, anyway.
Right, yeah, because Laura obviously was not 14 years old, or was not 40 years old.
Right, 100%.
So Bob had possessed Leland the whole time.
So if he's fucking this woman, it's obvious. And maybe does he have an essence? Does he not have an essence? How does he reproduce?
Wow. Now we're getting into some metaphysical philosophy right here.
No, 100%. So like, maybe. I mean, here's a whole thing. Bob's a chaotic character. Laura Palmer was a fucking chaotic character.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe he did breed himself into her. Maybe it wasn't Leland's child. Maybe it was Bob's child, and she was gonna go off and be an aggressive parasite to the world. Because she is a kind of an aggressive parasite of a person, really. If we look at this show, she's a very aggressive, awful person, really. A lot of people fall in love with her, but she's not a good person. She does a lot of shitty things to everybody. Anyway.
That's, I really like where you're going with that, and it makes some really, really good, interesting points. And I think that there's some aspects of this that I may have spoiled already, but if you don't remember them, I'm not going to go over them again. So I'll just say that there is a reason that Bob decided to kill Laura.
Oh, so
we learn what that reason is later on. So you may be more right than you realize.
Okay. No, I don't remember you saying anything about that. So.
Okay.
All right.
So yeah, we
and Amazon's not going to tell me about that if I pause it.
Probably not. I would just say no. That's just going to spoil.
I know. I'm just giving. Hard time.
So yeah, I would just say keep that analysis in mind.
Okay.
Because it's relevant. Okay. It is very relevant.
Oh, that's interesting. All right. Maddie was the pure one, and Leland and Laura was not the pure one.
Could be. Back to our summary here. Hawk is returning to the station with Philip Gerard in custody. They pass through the lobby as Lucy tends to poor Andy. They have a discussion about the state of their relationship with running commentary from Gwen.
I thought it was the state of his sperms.
Gwen. Well, I mean, pretty much their whole relationship revolves around the state of Andy's sperms right now. Because if Andy's sperms aren't good, then he's not the father. But if Andy's sperms are good, like jumping salmon, then we're not really sure who the father of Lucy's baby is. Mamma mia! Here we go again.
Can't we wrap this up already? Oh my God.
Sorry, but no. We must point out at this point that 35 years ago, DNA testing in the womb was not a thing. You could not find out the identity of a baby's father until after the baby was born via DNA testing.
Awesome.
So we get to drag this out for the rest of the season. Spoiler.
Is it?
In holding, Harry and Cooper have brought in Gerard/Mike to examine Ben Horne. Mike declares that Bob has been close, but is not here. Jerry demands that Ben be released or charged as the 24-hour hold is up. Harry calls Jerry's bluff by officially charging Ben with Laura's murder. As Jerry restrains Ben from lunging at Harry, Cooper asks to speak with Harry outside, where he now expresses doubt that Ben is responsible for the murder and believes he should be released instead. In a rare instance of disagreement between the two, Harry insists that they have concrete evidence now and that he's done with the mumbo jumbo. He's going to stick with these charges.
It's hunch versus the law right here, you know.
Right? And Cooper recognizes that he's overstepped.
Right.
You know, he expresses his opinion, but when his opinion is, dismissed, he doesn't push it. He just recognizes that, this is Harry's jurisdiction and he's going to defer to his judgment.
And it's what anyone would do. Honestly, it's what we would do in our society.
It's what a good person in our society would do.
Yeah, it's like, innocent until proven guilty. You have evidence. You have to,
Yeah, and 100% Harry is right in the circumstance, and we all know it. In the dining room at the Great Northern, we learn that Vivian applies her critical item more than just her daughter and her potatoes. We also learn that Hank and Ernie are old pals from prison.
Didn't need this. Don't need this.
Didn't need this attachment, huh?
What is this? What is
Ernie the Professor?
Let me tell you
Myers.
this. All of this is important, right, Gabe? This is in the return, right?
Dude, I completely forgot about this plotline.
So stupid. It's so pointless.
Norma's mom
so dumb.
And I'm like, oh fuck, Nora's mom is in this?
This is so. I was watching this being like,
I have no recollection of where any of this is going.
I was watching Hank eat ribs. It's like, oh, I had ribs the other night, and I was just like, what a fucking monkey. And then, they're friends from prison. Who cares? What is this about?
I mean, all this really does is serve to further establish that Ben is a piece of shit, or not Ben. Hank is a piece of shit.
Sure.
Because here we are with Ernie trying his best to go straight, really doesn't want Vivian to know that he's a former convict.
And then we're getting like, he's obviously going to blackmail him at some point.
Right,
he's like very heavy handed. It's like, oh my God, why do you need this?
Right,
what?
Yeah.
You're going to blackmail this guy to get money out of the mother of the woman you love. This is like,
that's who Hank is.
Sure, okay, cool.
So yeah, Hank vows to keep his secret for him, but we all know what a piece of shit Hank is. So we all know that promise is going to come with a hefty price tag.
Right.
And just, the way he's like speaking about it very loudly as the women walk back up to just like drive that point home. I mean, tremendous acting on Chris Mulkey's part.
Sure.
But,
right.
Who
cares?
It's just, it's cartoon villain character. It's cartoon villain territory again.
I think it would be way better if, honestly, Leo had died and then Bobby and Hank became real villains. Like, they were fighting each other. Like, create tension within these two characters so that you see them. Like, the fact that Leo's still alive is so, like, nominally stupid. Like, it's just like, it's just like, what does this get us? It doesn't get us anything.
It gets us something.
No, it doesn't.
It does, eventually.
You could get it somewhere else. I bet you 100% you could have killed Leo and you probably still could have got there. 100% bet.
I don't know.
Well, I guess I'll find out. I guess we'll find out when we get there.
Yeah. I can't really say much more without spoiling something.
That's fine.
So
That's fine.
We're going to leave that as it is.
I'll write like 2-3 treatments of how you could have got there without Leo when it comes out. I'll be like, no, we could have got there easily. Anyway.
That one and how Bob can possess multiple people at once. So
sure, there you go.
Leland's not really the killer, but he really was abusing Laura the whole time.
Laura Palmer is also a symbiote, and she's out there possessing people. Anyway.
Real quick off topic, did you watch Legion on FX?
No, never watched it.
Okay.
Is that a spoiler?
No, but it kind of involves that discussion we're having.
Gotcha.
Anyway, Cooper getting ready for bed with a slice of cherry pie and a glass of milk. That would give me some serious heartburn.
It's intense.
myself, but that's just me. He's talking out the day's events with Diane via the trusty old tape recorder when he's visited by Audrey. This is her only appearance this episode, isn't it?
Yep.
She wants to spend some time discussing her daddy issues. I'd let her. Said discussion is short-lived as Cooper receives a phone call and the mood quickly turns serious with Cooper telling Audrey to head to her room and lock the door. No questions. Our final scene this week is Cooper and Truman arriving at the crime scene where the deputies are removing Maddie's body from the water, wrapped in plastic in the exact same fashion as her poor cousin.
Deja vu.
Roll credits.
Okay, I want to go back to the Audrey scene really quick.
Yeah, I agree.
Because I always pay a lot of attention to the Audrey scenes.
As well, we all should.
When she's backed up against the wall and she's talking about her dad, I feel like it's fun dialogue because it could also have a double meaning. Because while she's saying it about her dad, she says, "I just wanted him to love me, and then I didn't want him to be embarrassed of me."
Yeah, she could also be
She's talking about
Cooper.
100%. Yeah. You know, and then she gets on the bed, and then the phone rings, and I feel like that's...
I just wanted you to be proud. I just wanted to do something that made you happy, and I fucked it all up, and I don't want you to be mad. Yeah, you know, I didn't pick up on that. I'm really impressed, because to me, this just kind of seemed like generic daddy issue dialogue.
She's in love with him. She like comes in and she's wearing, she's all perk and she's all like, you know, and he's kind of undressed. And she's like, "Oh, is that where you got shot?" You know, and he buttons
he's
up.
Pretty quick to point out.
And then she instantly backs away against the wall, kind of being that kind of like, you know, like she's on the back foot, but she's on the attack, dude. Like, that's my opinion of this scene. That's where I'm at, and I'm not gonna. I 100% believe that. I don't. You can talk me. You can talk me down from it, but like that's I 100%. Because then she gets right on the bed.
Yeah, she does. I agree. She hasn't given up. She's respectful. You know, when he says like, you know, hey, you need to. She does what she's asked, and she's not, you know. 100%. She's not going to be shitty about it. But
no. But she is trying.
She's still trying.
Yes, and I think that is, in my opinion, the best acted scene in this episode. Like, it's simple, but like, man, she never really did anything after this, right? I don't know.
I mean, she gets material. It's just not as memorable as the stuff she gets to do in these first seasons when she interacts with Cooper.
Super talented, just a waste. Like, oh, man, like I don't think anyone else could have pulled that off. I don't know. She just pulls it off so seamlessly. She's really talented. I'm smitten by her. I have a little crush. I think if I was back in the 90s, I'd have a massive crush on her. I'd have posters of her. I don't know, but I think. I think this, she gets a tiny little scene, but it's a good thing this scene's at the end because she destroys everyone else in the show. She's so. Anyway, I was watching. It's like, oh, you're just. It's just fuck me eyes is what you're doing. Is right now. I mean, you're saying one thing, but you mean another, and it's like the perfect. It's like this is what this scene right here is all. This is a Lynch scene, dude. This is what Lynch is about. Like the dichotomy of the two characters, the double meaning, you know, anyway, I love it. This scene saved the entire episode for me.
Well, like I said, you saw things in it that I didn't see, but I agree with you 100% now that you've pointed them out, and I view that with a whole new lens now, for sure.
I'm glad I could help.
Yeah.
Some other things I did right that we could probably talk about, you know, now is like, this is Caleb Deschanel, second episode. Obviously, he's the father of Zoe, and he has another daughter who also is in the industry.
Zoe and Emily.
Emily.
Yeah, Emily is the one who was on Bones.
I think we've talked about him before, but
we touched on it a little bit during his first episode.
But he's been a cinematographer. He's had like 6. Unfortunately, he's had 6. He's been nominated 6 times for the best best cinematographer Academy Award, but he's never won. But he's
Oh
shot
no!
he's shot some
You
of
got
the
a
best
Susan Lucci
movies.
thing going on.
He's shot some of the best movies. He's super talented, and
I actually did prepare a fun story about him
Oh,
for
go
this
ahead.
episode.
Go ahead.
One of those movies you're speaking of is Titanic,
Yes.
where he served as the cinematographer and probably director of photography as well, I believe. I think you've heard the story about the Titanic crew getting dosed with PCP at one point.
I have not heard this.
Have you not heard this tale?
I'm not a
Okay,
big
yeah.
fan of Titanic or James Cameron, so
Fair enough. Yeah, this is pretty easily accessible trivia. But at one point, the entire crew was secretly dosed with PCP, and were all gone directly to the hospital to deal with this. Apparently, Caleb Deschanel, as he was waiting to be treated for his dose, was leading a conga line in the waiting room.
oh, that's wonderful. Professional.
So yeah, that's one I learned from my MDB folks. Look that one up.
Dude,
Story.
he's lensed so many great movies. It's wild, but yeah, super talented dude.
Mm-hmm.
I would say
been around the block, done it all.
as far as his director, I mean, he hasn't directed a lot of stuff, some TV. I wouldn't. I would say he's perfectly fine TV director. There was nothing stood out as like it was just
artistically. It
just
seemed very utilitarian, just very by the numbers.
needed what
Get
he
from
did.
point A to point B.
100%. Like some of these directors kind of do some interesting shots. He just kind of let's get this. Well shot, well established. Didn't bring
But
any
yeah,
like
not a lot of flourish.
no
not a lot of
but you're not
visual
bringing any.
signature to it.
That's the other problem though. Like when you do kind of TV, it's like you do something kind of crazy and you bring attention to it. And it's like, well, did you need to do that? He brings no attention to the he brings no attention to the frame, and you're just kind of like, okay, that's cool, that's fine. And so it was paced out pretty well, shot perfectly fine, lit fine. So I mean, yeah, perfectly cool. But I don't.
Yeah,
that's kind of all I have.
I did also want to mention the writer of this episode was Scott Frost.
Oh
yes, indeed,
the cousin of Mark.
Oh, cousin of Mark, was it?
Well, no, Scott is the son to a guy, and he's the nephew of Frost.
Well, which Frost? Because there's Warren Frost, who plays Doc Hayward,
which is Mark Frost's brother,
father of Mark.
Oh, father of Mark? Okay, no, I thought for some reason I thought Scott Frost was the nephew of Mark Frost. No,
I believe they're brothers, but I don't have access to look that up right now. You do.
Fine, let me look it up.
You're on it.
Mark. Oh wait, Scott Frost.
Yeah, because I know Warren is the father. Did we mention Warren's other notable 90s TV appearance?
I don't think so.
Which he also had with Grace Zabriskie, who plays Sarah Palmer. They were the parents of Susan, George's fiance on Seinfeld. Probably their most famous scene was when Kramer gives them a horse carriage ride in the park after feeding his horses 2 jumbo cans of beefaroni. Ugh. Which gives them awful, awful gas.
Now that I pulled it up, you're 100% right. Scott Frost is the brother of Mark Frost. There you go.
The 2 sons of Warren.
Yes, the 2 sons of Warren. For some reason, I thought. Anyway, I read it earlier, and I guess I misunderstood, or
anyway.
I read it too quickly, Gabe. I wasn't drunk enough to take in the information. Anyway, I have no other notes. I mean, this is a pretty simple...
I managed to interject most of my trivia in with the summary of this week, so I think we've about wrapped it up this evening. Time to start plugging the social media. Time for me to point skyward as Ian runs that banner. We don't have to. I mean, you're behind the board.
Well, I mean, we can do that. I mean, I'll put the email address up. I'm just saying, like, my only one question is, what is in store for us? Like, how much of a slog do we have? How many episodes until it gets good again?
Uh,
Does
I
it ever
mean,
get good again?
parts of it do, yeah.
Parts of it.
It's the more I watch it, the more I realize like the memorable stuff on the back half of season two, very little of it has to do with these side characters. And unfortunately, they start to take up a lot more real estate,
Mm,
especially once the murder gets solved from a law enforcement end.
gotcha.
So, Cooper's stuff is always intriguing to me, but it does feel like Cooper's stuff starts to take up less of the episodes, at least until he gets a new love interest. Spoiler alert. Uh,
Does Audrey get jealous? She doesn't even know. she, no,
she has her own thing going on at that point.
I
She
hope
gets
so.
her own love interest too.
I
Don't
don't. I
forget.
don't like where this is going.
Yeah. Yeah, remember how I mentioned Billy Zane is in the cast later?
Yeah. Oh, that's awesome.
So yeah, and then James gets his own little angle, which is the worst part of the entire series. I have a feeling you're going to agree with me.
Does Bob possess someone new? Oh, okay. Don't. Cause then. All right.
Yeah.
All right. I hope he possesses
See,
Audrey.
you
That'd
asked me these questions, and then
Well, let's just see. They're gonna obviously catch Leland at some point.
probably sooner than you think.
Oh, fine. But then what's gonna happen is that then Bob's gonna be like, "Get fucked, Leland," and then leave. But why wouldn't he continue to fuck around with these other characters?
I mean, we don't know the rules, do we?
And why wouldn't you make it Donna, James, or Audrey? Anyway, that's where I'm at.
You got some good ideas. You could have been valuable in this writer's room 35 years ago with all your knowledge of the future and how
35
TV worked
years
then.
ago. How old would I have been?
6 years old?
See, yes. No,
No, 7 years old?
See,
How old are you?
I'm 40.
42?
No. I'm older than that. I'm 46.
Oh, no, that's right. You're older than me.
Yeah. Even though it
You're
doesn't
not
look
40.
it. Even though it doesn't look it.
Oh, you are? Yeah, that's right. You're 77. I always forget that. You're the full year ahead of me.
It's the Asian inside me. It keeps me young. You just have that old white miner inside of you. So it's
You and Keanu, man, that Pacific Island blood.
Anyway, that's my
Keeps you young. Keeps you young.
Keeps me young.
Me and my Germanic heritage.
It's all right, Gabe.
We go gray early.
Gabe,
We go gray real early.
Gabe, I keep you young, so it's all good.
Oh, yeah. I stay young here, folks. I don't feel this here.
All right. I don't think I have any other questions. I don't think I have any other show questions. I'm pretty sure.
Not any that lead directly into spoiler territory anyway.
I mean, they're all. I mean, listen. Any question that kind of come up. I mean, here's the problem, Gabe. I'm always working. I'm like thinking. It's like I have questions, and it's like, how's this gonna? Yeah, I think I'm good. I think I've brought up a lot of things that you don't want to answer, so I think that's good.
There you go. I will say that we have some important characters that have yet to be introduced, most of whom affect Cooper's future, but also interact with some other characters in the town.
Gotcha.
We do see some unexpected meetups here and there.
Do we get some Lynch call? Does Lynch show up again?
Lynch does show up again. I'll give you that spoiler.
Okay.
I also would like to mention that we do get Miguel Ferrer back next week.
Nice.
I don't want to go into too much outside of the original series.
That's
just
fine.
because, I want you to have that same experience that the rest of us did where you don't know what fully to expect from the return once we wrap up on season 2 here.
How much? Okay, I have a question. As you allow me to keep formulating things as we're talking, how much of this work I'm doing and coming up with these things, these ideas, these concepts, should I really carry over to the return?
More than a few of them.
Oh, okay. All right.
Like, one of
I
Lynch's
shouldn't
favorites
give
is
up
the
hope, is what you're
duality of
saying.
man.
I shouldn't give up hope. I should
Right.
be like,
Yeah.
any things I've kind of thought up and being like, I should like,
Yeah. Once Lynch is in control, the concepts get way more highbrow, for sure.
and more like
More abstract.
abstract, but more continuity driven. Like they're not like just forgotten. They're not dropped. Do you feel like
I
any?
wouldn't necessarily say that.
Oh, I can't wait to watch.
It's
that.
definitely.
Just like,
I mean, it's not so much as like a neat little package as it is a big splatter pattern.
All right.
I would say that like we probably get more convergent coverage from that splatter in the return, but we also get like some broader dots that Lynch feels very more comfortable exploring without the restraint of network television.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
It does.
Okay.
Another thing I had before I don't know if we brought it up. I don't think we did, but I just, my question to you is like, how do you think I'm handling this experience so far?
You're doing very good. You're doing very good. You've had your bouts of negativity here and there, but I feel like you're giving it a fair chance. I mean, like when you text me before the show and you're like, Twin Peaks is a bad show, then I start to worry. But when we're recording, you're very even-handed with your analysis. I don't see any bias in you at all. You're approaching this with fresh eyes. You're being fair about it.
Cool.
So yeah, I've got no complaints.
Cool. Awesome. Is it all that you thought it would be?
And more.
And
more.
Obviously, you got a little more tonight. Obviously, with Audrey, you're like, oh my god,
up on stuff that I've never seen in my 5th, 6th, 7th viewings. So, right? It's always good. This is why I like discussing this kind of stuff.
It's fun.
Other people will notice stuff that you don't.
100%, and it's fun. It's just fun to have something to share and talk about that, I don't know. It's just, it's good times. Hopefully it's entertaining to everyone listening. This will probably be once we get done with all of this will probably be a podcast that goes into and then it'll just be found, and it'll just like take us like, holy shit, these guys knew what this was about the entire time. These guys were the best.
I mean, we still got to compete with the one guy who published the 4.5-hour YouTube video.
I mean,
Twin Peaks Explained.
I'm sure. Oh, man,
I've read.
We should watch that and then comment on it after we're done with this all.
4.5 hours. Oh, dude.
We don't have to do it. We could break it up into an hour.
Yeah, we'd have to break that up.
But like we could like just spell all of his fucking bullshit.
I've researched some of the bullet points of it, and honestly, like a lot of his analysis makes sense. I don't know how true it is, but I could see where logic would lead him down that path.
Wow, what an interesting thing that would be to do, though.
It would be fun.
If we could, listen,
bonus material.
If this podcast is kind of a finite thing, unless we find a way to create within the community, I guess.
True enough, yeah.
Yeah.
The supplemental material, as it were.
Right.
I mean, we do have all the books that we could cover. If you're into the reading thing. But that could be a conversation for another day.
It's a visual medium. Anyway, whatever. Gabe, I have so many comic books I have to read. I'm so far behind. I can't
You're so far behind.
Dude, you have no idea. You have no fucking clue. I mean, look.
Gun to your head.
Look at all those. Look at all this shit.
You haven't read any of those?
No.
Why do you even have them, then?
Because I keep collecting. I buy monthly.
Even though you don't read them.
I do read some of them, but some of them just I keep collecting just because. I don't know. Anyway. Twin Peaks, baby.
Twin Peaks, folks.
Let's
Want to
get
put
it.
it up again, or did we already put it up?
We put it up. It's been up here.
Blank as a fart.
Write us a fucking
@gmail.com.
email. Tell us how awesome we are.
No.
Or how awesome Gabe is and how much fucking Ian sucks cock. Blank as a
Not
fart.
true, but write it anyway. Everybody loves a little fiction. Instagram, blank as a fart. Facebook, blank as a fart. Those are the best ways to hit us up. I'm really starting to hate Threads. Don't hit us up there. We're always on Twitch, Wednesdays at 8, unless we're not.
We're usually
the
there,
link in
and
the
if we're
bio-
not, we're a little late.
Yeah, and
Or-
we let you know.
We let you know.
We give you a heads up. But if we're not on Wednesdays, you can always catch up on every one of our old episodes via the links in the bio. Those
iTunes,
will take you to iTunes,
Spotify.
Spotify,
Amazon.
whatever other
Audible.
podcast apps you have,
Yes.
or even YouTube, where you can see our handsome faces
You know what?
and our awesome beards.
You can go to a web browser, open up Google, type in Blink as a Fart pod or Blink as a Fart podcast, hit search, and all the places it's available will show up.
Magically appear.
And then you can pick one and be like, oh, this is the one I want to be my favorite. And then you pick that one, and then you can subscribe to it, and then you'll get notified every time the episode's uploaded. So
Best way to get us every week, right in your inbox, right in your box,
right in your
coming at you with our deep analysis,
the deepest.
deep in your box. So anyway,
I'm
we're gonna
surprised.
wrap
I'm
it up
surprised
this
I
week.
didn't say that. Actually, surprisingly, how many whiskeys did you have tonight? Just one?
I'm still on number 1 right now, but it's been a rough week, so I'm feeling loose. And it's only Wednesday, folks.
I love you, brother. Let's do it.
I love you too, Ian. Been a good episode this week. Thanks for joining us, folks. Before we go, I want to give a quick shout out to friend of the show, Domer, who has provided me with my on-location premises this evening and also provides us with our awesome theme song. That's called Big Old Dead. It's on the self-titled album Domer, and you can get that on iTunes and Spotify as well. Thanks again for joining us tonight, folks. Take care. We'll see you next week.
I love you, Gabe.
Shut up, Gwen.
I love you. I also love this song. So I usually, when you're wrapping up, just so you
Mhm.
know, I like start playing it quietly.
Oh, do you?
I just kind of bring it slowly up.
Oh, okay. Kind of like a radio show.
Like a
Or
professional
like a
radio
legitimate
show.
Professional podcast.